I get into trouble for this a lot. I'm one of those people. You say something, and my first instinct isn't to nod along, it's to tilt my head and go, wait, is that actually true? Not because I think you're wrong, but because I genuinely want to find out if you're right. On the Big Five personality scale, I score very low on agreeableness, which, despite its name, does not mean that I'm a jerk. Okay, I promise. Okay, it means my default setting is to question, probe, test the logic, poke at the assumption, including my own, not just yours, everybody else's, also mine. Okay, when someone tells me something, a part of me lights up and wants to take it apart and see how it works. So people often think I'm mad at them or something, which is false. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I've watched it happen in real time though. I ask 3 honest questions in a row and suddenly the energy shifts. They get defensive or they get flustered, sometimes a little bit hurt. They think that we're fighting, but we're not fighting. I'm learning. I'm stress testing my own thinking against yours. And when it goes well, when the other person can stay in it with me, we almost always land somewhere better than either of us started. Sharper, more true. Okay, I've been on dates where this is electric. Okay, where she pushes back, I push back, and 20 minutes later we built an idea that neither of us walked in with. And I've been on dates where my third question made someone visibly shut down, like I'd done something cruel by being curious. To me, okay? So I've had to learn the hard way that being right about disagreement, being good, isn't enough. How you do it is everything. Trust me, I know, okay? I've been there. Ask me how I know this stuff, okay? But before we get to the how, I just want to talk about how we got so scared of this in the first place. And just real quick, by the way, I'm Cody, okay? I've got a degree in cognitive neuroscience. I'm trained in a trauma therapy called internal family systems, and I study this stuff for a living. Over 1 million women trust me to help them navigate breakups and heartbreak to prepare them for modern dating because I say the hard things, but I do it with love, and I do it with science, okay? So let's dive into this. Somewhere in the last couple of decades, a quiet swap happened in our collective nervous system. We didn't get more peaceful, we got more afraid. Your wrong started to feel like you're bad. Disagreement stopped being a normal feature of two minds meeting and started feeling like a threat to your worth, your belonging, your freaking safety. Think about where most of us practice disagreement now. It's not at the dinner table, it's in the comment section. Online, disagreement has 2 settings, 2 flavors, pile on or get piled on. There is no version where 2 people who see it differently get curious and walk away friends. Unfortunately, okay, the algorithm just does not reward that. It rewards the dunk. Okay, so we learned over thousands of tiny reps that disagreement is dangerous and it ends in humiliation, not in understanding. Okay, so we adapted the way nervous systems always adapt. We pick a survival strategy. Some of us avoid it. Okay, we just keep it smooth, never rock the boat. Some of us perform agreement that we don't really feel. And then some of us go scorched earth at the first with of being challenged. Okay, what almost none of us learned is the thing in the middle, the actual skill of disagreeing well. That muscle has just atrophied. Okay. And if in your early home conflict meant someone leaves or conflict means someone explodes, you didn't even start at 0. Okay. You started in debt, dude. Your nervous system had a head start on reading disagreement as danger long before the internet finished the job. So what's going on in your brain when you disagree with someone? It's a great question. Okay. A team at Yale led by neuroscientist John Hirsch sat pairs of people down to talk and scan both of their brains at the same time. Sometimes the pairs talked about things that they agreed on, and other times it was things that they didn't agree on. Okay, when the 2 people agreed, their brains did something kind of beautiful. Activity stayed calm and concentrated in the social and sensory areas, and the 2 brains actually started to kind of sync up. They mirrored each other a little bit. Literal neural harmony, if you will. Okay, when they disagreed though, that synchrony broke. Activity jumped into the frontal lobes, prefrontal cortex specifically, which is the part of you that's responsible for reasoning, planning, weighing evidence, and higher order thought. The researchers found that disagreeing simply demands more of the brain than agreeing does. More regions, more resources, more effort, okay? Listen to that again, because this is the whole freaking point here. Disagreement is more cognitively demanding than argument. Your brain works harder when it disagrees. Now, your nervous system, which is gloriously lazy and obsessed with keeping you safe, hates this. Surprise, surprise. Effort feels like cost. Costs feel like threat. So when real disagreement shows up, your body can read this is hard work as this is dangerous, okay? Leak a little cortisol into your system and then nudge you towards a cheap exit. Just agree, change the subject, or go cold. However, dear viewer, harder is not the same as worse. This is the part the avoidant crowd misses entirely, okay? That extra brain activity is a workout. Decades of research by David and Roger Johnson on what they call constructive controversy found a specific chain reaction that happens when you do this, okay? You bump into a view that contradicts yours. You get uncertain. The uncertainty sparks a genuine curiosity. You go hunting for more information and better perspectives, and then you come out with a sharper, more refined conclusion than you walked in with. They found this kind of structured disagreement beats debate, it beats just agreeing, and it beats going it alone for learning, for creativity, and for the quality of the final call, the final decision that you make together with another person, okay? Wild. right? So when I sat across from someone and I start to poke at an idea, my brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing one of the most effortful, growth promoting things two brains can do together. That's not me being difficult. That's me lifting weights with you, baby. Okay. The catch, and it's a big one, I'm going to be honest, it's a big one, is that all of this only works while your prefrontal cortex stays online. Okay. The second things turn hostile, sarcastic, contemptuous, threatening, more on that later, the body flips out of this is hard and interesting into this is actually dangerous. Cortisol spikes, the thinking brain goes quiet, and the survival brain grabs the freaking wheel, baby. Okay, now you're not reasoning, you're defending. The brain is working harder, but it's no longer working better. Big difference, okay? Same disagreement, two completely different brain states, depending entirely on whether your system feels safe or not, which is exactly why how matters more than what. Meaning you don't disagree with your mind, you disagree with your nervous system. Okay, if you've been around here for a while, you know what I'm about to talk about. We're about to talk about parts, baby. Let's talk some IFS. Let's talk some IFS, internal family systems, okay? When someone disagrees with you, you don't experience this as neutral data, okay? A part of you experiences it. And depending on your history, a very specific part tends to show up. The part maybe that learned disagreement equals abandonment, okay? Maybe you struggle with that one. Someone pushes back and a young, anxious part kind of panics. They're pulling away. I have to fix this. I have to agree. I have to make it smooth again. So you fold, you abandon your own position to protect connection. Maybe that's you, okay? Or maybe you have a part that learned that disagreement equals a fight you have to win. Someone challenges you and a protector slams the door. I have to be right. I cannot be wrong here. So you argue to win instead of understand. Really, that part of you argues to win instead of to understand, okay? Maybe you have a part of you that learned that disagreement equals the room is about to explode. So you go cold, you stonewall, you leave the conversation while your body is still in the chair, okay? None of these parts are bad. Every one of them is a brilliant little bodyguard that took a job when you were too young to protect yourself and never got the memo that the war is freaking over. Okay. And I'll out myself here. Okay. So for a guy who will cheerfully debate the structure of reality or neuroscience with a stranger at a party, I have historically been terrible at one specific kind of disagreement. Yeah. Telling a partner what I actually need, okay? I can challenge an idea all day, but sit me across from someone I love and ask me to say, hey, I'm not getting enough back here and it's not okay with me. A completely different part takes over. The nice guy part, the people-pleasing part, whatever, okay? The one that decided a long time ago that the way to keep someone is to be easy, to ask for nothing and to keep the peace, right? Perform for it. You got to earn it. I've watched myself swallow a real need 100 times to dodge one uncomfortable conversation and then quietly resent that need as being unmet, okay? In my last relationship, I did exactly this over and over. And here's what I started calling this move because it deserves a freaking name. It's borrowed harmony. It's borrowed harmony, baby, because borrowed harmony is the peace you get for swallowing your truth. And it feels like protecting the relationship. It feels generous even, but you didn't create peace. You borrowed against your future. And like anything borrowed, it comes freaking due. Every swallowed need, every it's fine that wasn't fine, every disagreement you skip to keep things smooth doesn't just vanish, goes on the tab. Okay, that's emotional debt. Okay, it compounds quietly in the background until the interest comes due as resentment, distance, or a breakup that came out of nowhere. It absolutely did not. Okay, borrowed harmony isn't intimacy, it's a loan, and the relationship is the one that pays. Okay, I had to learn that the hard way, and it's one of the most important things I've been working on in my own healing journey. Okay, so what do the healthiest couples do then? How do we actually disagree well, especially if you're in a relationship? Okay, so for over 40 years, Dr. John Gottman has been bringing couples into a lab and watching them argue. Thousands of them, just watching them argue. And from all that data, he can predict with eerie accuracy which couples will make it and which ones won't. You'd assume the couples who last are the ones who fight less, right? The calm ones, the we never argue ones. No, false. That ain't it. It's not that simple, okay? The couples who last, the ones that Gottman calls masters, often argue just as much as the ones who split. Conflict frequency barely predicts anything, apparently. What predicts almost everything is how they fight. The disaster couples let 4 specific things into the room. Criticism, so attacking the person, not the problem. Contempt, this is a big one, right? Sarcasm, eye rolling, moral superiority, things like that. Defensiveness and stonewalling, okay? Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, which is like going cold and checking out. These are so corrosive that Dr. Gottman named them the 4 horsemen, okay? The masters, they do something that's almost embarrassingly simple. When a fight starts to slide off the rails, they repair. A joke, a hand on the arm. Oh, wait, I'm coming at you. Let's start this over. Very rapidly. They don't wait. They do it right away, right? Gottman calls repair attempts the secret weapon of happy couples. And they keep the overall ratio tilted towards warmth, just in their interaction, somewhere around 5 positive moments for every negative one, even if they're mid-fight. Okay, so the goal was never to stop disagreeing. The goal is to disagree without contempt and to repair fast when you slip. That's what you're looking for. That's the goal. Okay, the couple that never fights isn't automatically healthy. Sometimes that's 2 people couple running on borrowed harmony at scale. Okay, a relationship so afraid of friction that nobody is actually in it. Smooth on the surface, hollow underneath. Quietly drowning in emotional debt. Okay, Cody, I get it. Disagreement good. Content bad. My nervous system dramatic. What do I do about it? I'm so happy that you asked, imaginary viewer, that I talk to in my head while I record these things, okay? Here's exactly what to do about it. Let's get practical, baby. You know me. I love talking practicality, okay? The research out here hands you all sorts of scattered random shit. Stay calm, ask questions, use I statements, all fine, but a pile of parts, not a system, okay? So here's the system. I call it the third thing framework. TM. No, I'm kidding. We can't trademark. The name, though, is the whole philosophy, okay? When disagreement goes wrong, it ends in a winner and a loser. Really, honestly, it's two losers, if we're being for real. When it goes right, though, it doesn't end with your idea or their idea winning. It ends with a third thing, a better idea that neither of you walked in holding. And it's built from the collision of both of them. Aristotle called it deliberate discourse. I call it the third thing, okay? You're not fighting each other. You're both fighting towards whatever is most true. And before you file this under relationship advice, don't, okay? It's great for that, but this works with your sister, coworker, your group chat, a friend who voted differently than you, your freaking mom on the phone, anywhere. Two minds meet, do not match. All right, 3 steps. Let's dive into these things. The first one, step number 1, is set the upfront contract and then regulate, okay? It's 2 moves, but 1 job. Make it safe before you touch the content. The first one of these, an upfront contract, I stole from sales training of all places, okay? I've worked at Sandler for a long time, for a few years out of school, and in Sandler's method, there's a concept called the upfront contract. Before any real conversations happen, before you even dive in, you agree on the outcome, right? And you both agree on what the conversation's for and what each of you want out of it, okay? No surprises. So with a partner, it could sound like, hey, I'm not trying to win or make you wrong. I actually want to understand you and figure this out together. Is this a good time to do that? With a coworker, can I push you on this a little bit? Just for a second, okay? Not because I don't like you, because I want to pressure test it with you. Let's do this together. Okay. Or maybe it's your mom, right? I want to talk to you about something and I want us to stay on the same team while we do that. Is this an okay time to do that? You got 30 minutes, you got 15 minutes, whatever. Okay. So just look at what these things do, what these statements do. You've named the shared goal, which lowers defenses on the spot. Research backs this super hard. You've told their nervous system, this is not an ambush. You are not in trouble. Here's what I want. I'm not hiding anything. And you've handed them a real choice about timing. Do you have time for this? Is this a good time for you? Is this a bad time for you? How much time do you have, right? So it's not infinite. The second move is on you. Okay. It's not on them. It's on you. You got to regulate before you do these things, before you engage in the rest of the conversation. Okay. So remember the neuroscience. Productive disagreement lives in your prefrontal cortex. We talked about this earlier. And that's the first thing to go offline when you're activated. Gottman's research measured this. When people get flooded in a fight, pounding heart, tight chest, hot waves, sweaty palms, all the things, they lose access to the exact brain regions this entire thing requires. So if you're past the point of no return, do not power through. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Okay. Call timeout and name when you're coming back. Okay. I need 20 minutes. I'm not leaving this. I just need 20 minutes. Okay. An open loop with a return time is repair. A slam door is abandonment. Same pause, totally different message. Okay. You're aiming for Dr. Amy Abidjan calls calm aliveness, regulated and engaged, not numb, not flooded, online. That's what we're looking for, okay? Step number 2 is you got to lead with a real question and then signal that you mean it. And that's the important bit right there, okay? This is the step that my fellow disagreeable people get wrong all the time, okay? I'm raising my hand, okay? I forget to do this sometimes before I dive in and just start piercing people with questions, okay? There's an entire world of difference between, wait, why would you even think that? And, what's making you see it that way? Same curiosity, opposite impact. My words were different. My tone was different. My body language was different. Everything I was doing was different between those two things. Okay. A genuine question gets you actual information. You might be wrong. How exciting. And tells the other person that they've been heard before they've been challenged. Okay. Which research shows makes people dramatically more willing to hear you back. Okay. Curiosity before counterpoint. Always curiosity before counterpoint. Say it as a mantra. I promise you it helps. But here's the trap for those of us who love to debate. We are receptive. We'll happily update our view with better evidence, but we don't signal it, okay? We don't signal it. We don't talk about it. We just start poking. And the other person, I'm telling you, I'm guilty of this, okay? I am so guilty of this. But the other person, they can't read our minds. They feel poked, not partnered, okay? This is the exact reason a coworker thinks you're attacking their proposal when you're actually trying to make it stronger and better. So researchers at Harvard trained a model to detect what receptive language actually sounds like. And it's built from 3 super simple learnable moves. Number 1, acknowledgement. 2 is hedging. And number 3 is positive affect. Okay, let's talk about them. Acknowledgement is, hey, I hear you. The part that bugged you was the timing, not the money. Is that right? Acknowledgement. You're explicitly calling it out. Hedging, okay? I might be wrong about this, but hedging isn't a weakness. It's a signal that there's room for both of you to be right, at least partially, right? Or come to something better together. And then positive affect, right? I'm really glad that we're talking about this. A little warmth, doing it on purpose, okay? Their findings were absolutely insane. People who opened with receptive language got fewer personal attacks back later. Okay, you can lower the temperature of a disagreement before it heats up just by how you signal at the start. So say the warm part out loud. Don't make them guess you're on their side. Tell them. Tell them, okay? And then number 3, repair fast and repair often. You will slip. Your tone will get on edge, and that's not a failure. That's 2 nervous systems doing a hard thing. The masters, couples that survive, aren't the ones who never slip. They're the ones who catch it and reach back. Hey, that came out a little sharper than I meant. Time out. Can we rewind just for a second? Man, I'm getting defensive. Can you just give me a couple seconds here? Easy, right? Super simple sentences. A repair attempt is any move, even a goofy one, that stops the slide before it curdles into contempt. Okay, it works on a friend and text argument as well as it works on a partner across you from the kitchen. Okay, and make sure that you're landing the plane on the relationship, not the scoreboard, and on the connection, not the conclusion. I love that we can do this even when we don't land in the same place, right? You're talking about the thing that you just did together, because what you're building rep by rep is proof to both nervous systems that you two can disagree and the bond holds. That's how connection of any kind stops feeling fragile. If you take one thing from all of this, take this. The smooth relationship is not the goal. The honest one is, okay? The fear that disagreement will cost you the connection is real, and it made sense once, but you're older now and you're safe. A partner you can disagree with, really disagree with, and still feel held isn't a threat to your security. They're the source of it. The people who can stay in it with you, who push back, who let you push back, who repair when it gets messy, those are your people, not the ones who never ruffle you, the ones who can handle being ruffled and choose to stay. That's not conflict, baby. That is intimacy with the training wheels off, okay? So the next time someone sees it differently than you, don't brace for a fight. Don't reach for a cheap piece either, okay? Get curious, stay in your body, signal you're on their side, and go build the thing neither of you could have reached alone. Go find that third thing, okay? If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another one of our videos. And if you want to go deeper on any of these topics, you'd love my Substack, I'll check out the description for the link below. I believe in you. You got this. Peace.